I think the day is finally here. Scout, you had a good run, but I think you're being replaced. Hey, I'm Ryan. Welcome to the Board Game Journey, where you are joining me to play 1,000 games. Today, we are looking at a game that is replacing Scout for me. Let's hop in. So Scout has a very complicated relationship with me. Let me explain. Like many of you, when I first got into the board game hobby, Scout came up as like, you gotta have it, must have card game. You gotta get Scout. So I bought it. I bought Scout. And when I first started off, I convinced two of my friends to play with me every Thursday. So probably within the first few months, we played Scout, a 3-player game. I know some of you out there are probably like, Ryan, that's the wrong player count. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was the wrong player count. So at 3, it just doesn't work the same. Like when someone plays a really big run of cards, you just don't have enough time to take cards away from the pile to get it weak enough. So that person just ends up winning too soon. The game just felt flimsy. It didn't feel great. I watched it online, so I'm playing, I think, a 5-player game, and I was like, oh, this looks really cool. I gotta try this. But with my group of 3, we're all left scratching our heads going, they say this is good. Apparently, I don't see it. The complicated relationship piece comes in because Scout sort of became like an inside joke with those 3 friends. Like anytime something bad happened, if food tasted bad, or if a game was bad, or anything really just happened in our life that was not great, we would compare it to Scout. But well, at least it's not as bad as Scout. So you gotta imagine that became for like a good year or so what my brain thought of the game. Then I finally said, okay, I held on to it. Finally tried a 5-player game with my family. And I would say the first 20 minutes of the game went pretty fine. I would say the rules for people who are new to the game are a little complex, like the whole Scout and show, you gotta do this, you can do runs, you can't move your hand, you can't turn cards over. There's a lot to take in if you're new. I mean, seasoned gamers, like I'm sure most of you guys are out there, you pick it up, it's something you just kind of, you're just used to playing games like this, you just accept the rules at face value. Where, getting through that was just a little bit of the hassle, but that's not what really turned me off from the game. The part I didn't like is the game started to get stale. You're supposed to play as many rounds as there are players, so there's 5 of us. After we got through the first 2 rounds, I was like, it would be great if this game ended in one more round, but it didn't. Kept going. I don't think we even finished. I think we made it through the 4th round. We're like, all right, that's it. We'll see who won, who has the most points. Now, sure, I could house rule it and say maybe we'll just play 2 or 3 rounds. Now, maybe it's just me, but I'm not a big house rule kind of guy. I want to play the game the way it was designed, and I just don't feel right house ruling it. Unless it's like a party game, that's probably my exception, where I can sometimes tweak those rules because they're meant to be fun. The other issue I have with Scout is when you compare today's replacement, it is hard to choose this one over that one in almost every situation. What I mean by that is if I have newer gamers coming over, the replacement's just hands down better. And then if I have seasoned people coming over, especially 5 people, which I think this is probably where this thing shines at, is I think the length, I'd rather just play a different game. So I feel like Scout for me, at least in my collection and with people I play with, is sort of in this Goldilocks zone where the perfect scenario has to happen for me to pick it. And I feel like when games get to that Goldilocks zone, I just don't need them anymore. Okay, so which game replaces Scout? It is going to be Denupt or Down Up. However you want to say it. The cute thing is the box is upside down, but it does not matter. Now, if you haven't played this game yet, I'll give you a quick overview of how it works. But before we jump into it, I just want to say, with Denupt, at 5 players, it was just easy to get everyone into. It was snappy, it was quick, and I feel like we ended up playing 3-4 games in a row, and at the time it felt like I took to play 1 game in Scout. And not saying that shorter games are better than longer games. It's just more at this certain level of game, I only want to play for so long. If a game is not that complex, I don't want to spend an hour playing it. Now, to cast a little shade, I wish the op could take a lesson from this box design, because instead of this crappy tuck that whips in 3 seconds, I played this game 1 time, and it's ripped down the side, and it ripped down the front, and the back split it open. So this thing is literally just held together with tape at this point. I played it once. I played it 1 time. Where this one, I get the need for the hang tag. I get it. But I've never seen a box like this, where it's a nice thick box, like we're used to. And what they did was this little insert in here. Well, this little part comes out, and they have the cardboard coming out around the box, and it came out like a regular hang tab. And when I bought the game, I just snipped it off, which they even said snip here, and now you have a normal box. So you can still get the hanging, but without the box that disintegrates within 3 seconds. Now, to playing on your player count, you don't need the cards, and they handled it very nicely. So if I'm playing a 4-player game, you just go through and take all the 5s out of the deck, which takes 3 seconds. I love a good design like this. So the goal of Done Up is just to get 4 of these letters. You get 4 of these letters, you win. You get letters by winning. If you get first, you get 2 letters. If you get second, you get 1 letter. First to 4 wins the whole game. So Done Up is a card shedding game. You start with so many cards, and the first one to get rid of them all wins the game. Now, similar to Scout, with Done Up, you do have 2 ended cards. So if you have a 2 on this side, the other side is a 6. Now with Scout, you're not allowed to rearrange your cards in your hand. You can with Done Up. So when everyone gets their cards, they can basically commit to a side, and now they're not allowed to rotate it once they commit, but there is an action later in the game we'll get through that lets you turn your cards over. We'll get to that in a second. So there is no runs in this game. So you just want to put your cards together by similar numbers. So I want my 1s together, and then so on and so forth. So my 2s, the 3s, 6, 8s, and then 9. So this will be my starting hand right here. So on your turn, you always have 4 things you can do. You just gotta choose one. It does give you a nice reference card here. So A, you can play cards to the table. Now you can play a set of cards. A set could be 1 card, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, any number of cards as long as they're the same number. B, right here, I can play a single card to someone else's card. So if this person has, say, 2 8s in front of them, I can take one of my 8s and add it to their 8s. 3, I can pick up someone's card. So if they have 3 7s down, I can pick up the 7s, turn them over, and put them back in my hand. We'll get to that more in a second. And then D, it lets me turn my cards over. So if I'm looking at my other side of the cards here, I might be, you know what? I like the other side better, and I can turn my whole hand over, and that's my whole turn. So ultimately, I'm just trying to get rid of my cards. I do that by, if I put, like, say, 3 1s in front of me, and it gets back to my turn, and I still have the 3 1s in front of me, I can get rid of them. Now they're gone. But I could pick them up. It depends on how other cards are played. So like I said, I could play any number of cards down to the table as long as they're the same number. In this case, I could play 3 3s. Now it's this person's turn. This is where the game gets a little bit different, is they're not necessarily trying to beat me. They can, but they don't have to. Right now, they can play, say, 1 card, 2 cards, 4 cards, and nothing really happens to me because they're not directly competing with me. So for instance, they could play 2 8s right now, and now they play 2 8s to the table. So nothing happens. So now I have 3 1s, they have 2 8s. We'll see what happens with this person. So right now, like for instance, they couldn't play the 2 4s because for them to play 2 cards, they have to beat the 8s. So they would have to play, say, 2 9s. So they can't play 2 4s. So they can't do that. Now, they do have 3 7s. So they could play 3 7s. Good for them, bad for me, potentially. So if they play 3 7s, they beat my 3 1s. And now this gets turned over and then put back in my hand. So now this could be strategy, because maybe I wanted the other side of these cards. In this case, I probably don't. But I could have. I do that part. It's a fun part of the strategy. So I would put these back in my hand the other direction. Now I can rearrange them, it's fine. But I had 1 9, now I have 2 9, so maybe that's a good thing. We'll find out. So I picked up, so now it's my turn. So for instance, they have 3 7s. Now I can do the other action, which is that action B, where I can add a card. So you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and add an 8 to their 8s. Maybe he can get 3 8s. So this is where the game I like it. It fights in a fun way. Because now the 3 8s technically does beat the 3 7s. So now they have to pick their cards up, turn them over, and then put them back in their hand. But now it's this person's turn. So it's their turn. The 3 8s now go away. So he essentially got rid of 2 cards. And now he starts off with a fresh hand. So just to demonstrate the other actions, okay, they cleared the 8. They can go with anything they want. Well, let's just say they open with a single 5. So now this person could now, maybe they could play their 5 on top of the 5 if they want to, just get rid of it. Pretty good strategy. But then maybe they see, oh, I have 2 3s. Maybe they want to get the other 3. So they could pick up the 5, you know, and from their perspective, turn it around, and now they could add the 3 in there. So now that's their whole turn. They got an extra 3. So now it's my turn, and I could play something, and so on and so forth. Eventually, sometimes what happens is, it gets to my turn, I'm like, you know what? The other side's just better. I can just turn all my cards around, and now maybe it opens up a bunch of other cards I just couldn't get to. I like the different options you have because it's just fun to think through the different scenarios that you could do. Like for instance, I might have 3 1s. Maybe I want to get this to be a 1. So I'll put down the 6. And if it gets back to my turn and get rid of it, great. Or sometimes someone just puts down a 7 or 8 and not to pick it up. And I go, oh no, I pick it up. But now I got 4 1s that now I can get rid of all these 1s. And it's a lot stronger. Because maybe 3 1s could be beat pretty easily with almost anything, but 4 something is way harder to beat. So just getting that 1 flipped over, yeah, I kind of sacrificed a turn, but then I got rid of a lot more cards on the next one. So boom, that is a closer look at Denab. Now, as you can tell from the gameplay, it feels similar to Scout in some ways, but also very, very different. Now, like I was saying in the intro, Scout sort of falls into that Goldilocks zone where I feel like you need a perfect scenario to play it. But with Denab, I feel like I can just plug and play this with any group and it will do well. For example, today I'm meeting up with two friends that are like light games. They don't play a lot of them, but I know with confidence I can bring this one and we can get to playing very quickly. Where if I was trying to introduce Scout to them, I just know there's gonna be enough hurdles that it's just not gonna flow the same way. So what do you guys think? I know Scout is beloved by many, but with this game being new, not too many people have played it yet. For those who have played both, I'm curious, what do you think? Do you still have it this way or this way? Which one would you prefer? Or maybe you want both. Maybe you have a scenario where this is more your gateway, casual gaming, this is more your hardcore gamer. Maybe you guys found a better line that I haven't really found with my group. Jump down in the comments, let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear kind of how you guys would compare these two games. And please remember to subscribe, like, all that good stuff. It really does help the channel. And I love hearing from you guys. I mean, the last video I put up with my little travel case on the cruise, I mean, so many good comments, so many good game recommendations. I have so many games to look into and buy and feature them here, so continue to do that. Until the next video, have fun gaming, take care, see ya.